Okay, let's talk about time. Think back, maybe the last 5 years, maybe even just, the decade between 30 and 40. Why does it feel like it just flew by, like blinked and it was gone?
Yeah.
It seems like the older we get, the faster time goes until every year is just this blur.
Yeah, it's something pretty much everyone feels, isn't it? That sense of acceleration. But what's really interesting and honestly a bit unsettling is the idea we're digging into today. The hypothesis is life feels faster because your brain is actually actively deciding not to store memories of your routine life.
So like it gets bored and just hits delete on the day-to-day stuff.
In a way, yeah, it's not just you feeling busy or overwhelmed.
Yeah.
It's neurological. Your brain is optimizing for efficiency, maybe over experience.
Wow. Okay.
So today, our deep dive mission is to really unpack that. Where does this whole always chasing the next thing mentality come from? How does it create this neurological time warp? And crucially, what can we actually do about it? We're talking practical steps to essentially rewire things so you can experience life more fully again.
Rewire. Okay, I like that. So where does this programming start, this constant looking ahead?
Well, the sources suggest it starts incredibly early. Think about it, from kindergarten, maybe even before. It's all about getting ready for the next stage. Good job in kindergarten gets you into first grade. Good grades there lead to middle school, then high school.
Right, then the right college, the right job, the promotion, the bigger house.
Yeah.
It's like a giant conveyor belt.
Exactly. A societal conveyor belt. And the key thing is, at almost no point does anyone say, hey, pause, just, be here. Enjoy this part.
No, it's always what's next. The value is always dangled just out of reach in the future.
Precisely. And the cost of that is huge. It breeds anxiety, this constant pressure.
Yeah, and that story about the person achieving a 10-year goal really hit home. You work so hard, finally get there, and nothing. Just immediately thinking about the next goal.
It shows a complete inability, or maybe a lack of programming, to actually savor the achievement. The satisfaction isn't in arriving. It's wired to the start of the next chase.
And that leads to waking up, mid-career or mid-life on top of some ladder.
And realizing you didn't even want to climb this ladder.
Yeah.
You were just running so fast you didn't look where you were going.
That's the classic midlife crisis, isn't it?
Pretty much, yeah. It's the consequence of being, as one source put it, sort of domesticated. Like sheep following the flock towards grades, money, titles.
Thinking that's success.
Right. When maybe the real success is figuring out how to step out of that high-speed chase, at least mentally.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. Does this mean we should all just, quit our jobs and stop having goals? How does that work in the real world?
That's a fair question and a really important distinction. It's not about stagnation. It's about presence. You can still pursue goals. You can still work hard. But it's about how you experience the journey. If your entire focus is locked on that future point, you don't just miss the present moment, you literally don't form a strong memory of it.
So participate, but don't let the race consume your awareness of the race itself.
You got it. Learning to mentally step out, even while you're physically in it.
Okay, so that's the societal pressure, the why. Now let's get into the how. How does this actually mess with our perception of time in the brain? Right? The time warp science. I loved the Italy trip example. It's so relatable. You go somewhere totally new for, say, 3 weeks. Different food, sights, sounds, language.
Every day is packed with novelty.
And that 3 weeks feels long, really substantial. You remember so much detail.
But then you compare it to 3 weeks at home. Same commute, same office, same meals, same routine.
Poof, gone in a flash, feels like maybe 3 days, tops.
Exactly. And the reason for that difference lies primarily with a part of the brain called the hippocampus. Think of it as your brain's memory director. And it absolutely loves novelty.
Okay, so new stuff gets its attention.
Big time. When you encounter something new, something complex or emotionally engaging, the hippocampus basically lights up. It starts recording everything, the sights, sounds, feelings, creating these rich, detailed memory snapshots.
But what happens when things are not novel, when it's just Tuesday again?
Well, that's where it gets efficient. If the input is repetitive, same drive, same tasks, same view, the brain goes, oh, I've seen this movie before.
And it stops rolling.
Pretty much. Or, more accurately, it compresses the file. It says, okay, same data as yesterday and the day before. It doesn't need a unique high-def recording for every single identical day.
So my 7 years of driving the exact same route to work, my brain didn't store thousands of drives.
Probably not. It likely stored the first time, maybe a time something unusual happened, like a near miss, or perhaps a day the scenery dramatically changed. The rest.
Compressed. zipped into one tiny file labeled commute.
That's the essence of temporal compression. It's a real term in neuroscience. Years of routine could literally collapse into what feels like a blink when you look back, because neurologically they were compressed.
That is, wow, that's actually kind of chilling. So feeling like the last few years are a blur isn't just a feeling. It's because I chose routine over creating new memory data.
You chose efficiency, maybe unconsciously, over richness of experience, yeah. You saved your life as a low-res JPEG instead of 4K video.
Ouch. Okay, but you mentioned rewiring earlier. That implies we can change this.
Absolutely. That's the power of neuroplasticity. Your brain isn't fixed. It can change its structure and how it functions based on what you pay attention to.
So by forcing our attention onto things, even routine things, we can make the hippocampus start recording in high def again.
That's the goal. It requires conscious effort. It's not passive. You have to actively fight the brain's tendency to compress the familiar.
Okay, let's get practical then. If we want to fight temporal compression and save more high-res memories, what are the techniques? What can people start doing, like today?
First up is sensory presence. It's about deliberately bringing all your senses online during an activity. Remember, the hippocampus loves rich, multimodal input. Seeing something is one data stream. Seeing, hearing, smelling, feeling, tasting it, that's a much stronger, more complex memory.
So like if I'm eating dinner with my kids, I'm not just half listening while thinking about work. I should actively notice, say, the curve of my daughter's cheek when she laughs. Really hear the sound of it, feel the warmth of the plate, smell the food, try to consciously burn it in.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
Force your attention onto those details. Make the ordinary extraordinary by simply noticing it fully. It takes effort because we're so trained to just consume information, not observe experience.
Okay, sensory presence. Got it. What's next? You mentioned anxiety from the constant chase.
Right. Technique number 2 addresses that. Micropauses. These are crucial for breaking the relentless flow. You know that feeling of just drifting from one meeting or task straight into the next without even a breath?
Oh, yeah. My last few years at work feel like one long, blurry meeting.
That drift prevents your brain from marking experiences as distinct. A micropause is an intentional interruption. Super short, maybe just 60 seconds. Like after a call, before opening your email, physically close the laptop lid, take 3 slow, deep breaths. Maybe look out the window. Notice something slow, like clouds moving or leaves rustling. Remind yourself you're part of that slower rhythm too.
And what does that do neurologically? Just stop the stress.
It interrupts the stress cycle, yes. Constant task switching keeps cortisol, the stress hormone, slightly elevated. That's bad for presence and memory. The pause is like hitting a reset button. It tells your brain, okay, that task is done. It creates a boundary, allowing the next thing to feel fresh, not just more of the same blur.
Makes sense. Creates little mental chapters instead of one run-on sentence. Okay, what else?
Well, the most direct way to feed the hippocampus what it loves is disrupting routines.
Injecting novelty on purpose.
Exactly. If your brain compresses routine, give it less routine. Take a different route home from work, even if it's less efficient.
Try a new recipe. Go to a different coffee shop.
Yes. Call someone you haven't spoken to in ages. These aren't just fun things to do. They are strategic acts of memory creation. Your brain lights up with that safe, low-stakes novelty and records the day more vividly.
Right. Fighting the autopilot. Okay, and the last one sounded hard. Slow rituals.
This one pushes back against our cultural addiction to speed and multitasking. Slow rituals mean doing one single thing at a time. Think about making coffee. Usually we do it while checking the phone, listening to news, planning the day.
Guilty.
The slow ritual is just make the coffee, watch the water pour, smell the grounds, hear the drip, taste the first sip without doing anything else.
Take a walk without headphones. Is that even legal anymore?
Feels radical, doesn't it? But yes. Or the classic example, like stopping to actually smell the roses, like in that Santa Barbara story. We might dismiss it as cheesy, but it's a profound act. You are forcing yourself into the present sensory moment, overriding the brain's urge to rush ahead or multitask.
Wow. Okay. Sensory presence, micropauses, disrupting routines, and slow rituals. Seems doable, but requires definite intention.
And if we zoom out from these daily techniques, there's a bigger context here, a deeper reason why this matters so much. Ultimately, we're all heading towards the same end point, right? Towards death.
Okay, getting heavy, but...
True. And when you consider that final destination, suddenly things like your resume, your follower count, the exact amount in your bank account, they lose some significance, don't they?
Yeah, you definitely don't see hearses pulling U-Hauls.
Right. And the sources brought up that Powerful insight from hospice nurses, people who spend their days with the dying. The number one regret they hear, over and over. Not, I wish I'd worked more, or I wish I'd made more money.
It's, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me.
Exactly. And that forces the question. What is that life others expected?
It's the conveyor belt, the hamster wheel. The endless chase for the next thing that society tells us is success.
Precisely. So slowing down, paying attention, doing these things we've discussed, isn't just about making time feel less blurry. It's the mechanism by which you step off that expected path. It creates a space to figure out what you actually value, what brings you joy, what a life true to yourself even looks like.
So slowing down is actually the path to authenticity.
It can be. It allows you to interrupt the autopilot programming and make conscious choices about how you spend your attention and your time.
Which means, for you listening, this is really about refusing to let your brain just discard huge chunks of your experience. It's about actively choosing to live your life, not just rush through it on the way to somewhere else.
You're choosing to maximize your neurological experience, not just your productivity. You're building a richer past, one you can actually look back on and say, yeah, I was there. I remember that.
So life isn't a race to the finish line after all. Maybe it's more about collecting moments, making sure you actually notice them.
Creating a series of unrepeatable moments that are begging for your attention. That's the challenge. Slow down enough to notice.
Pay attention. Burn the details in. The smell of rain, the sound of laughter, the feeling of sun on your skin. That's the stuff that makes up a life, isn't it?
That's what you'll likely cherish. So maybe as you finish listening, take a second. Ask yourself those questions from the source material.
Like, if I really slowed down right now, what would I actually notice that I've been missing?
Or, if I knew I only had a year left, what moments would I desperately wish I had savored more?
And that final thought, if there is no destination, you get to decide what the point of your life is.
But you have to be awake to decide. You have to be present to experience it. That's the takeaway. Slow down, wake up, and start recording your life in high definition.